Okay, here we are. Good day again. Good morning. Thank you for being here, Dr. Warsmith.
Good
Really
morning.
appreciate a lot to have you with us. We're gonna do a little talk about anti-racist, Dharma, and yoga.
Awesome.
I'm gonna just very simple present, but I will let you present yourself with your word. Just for make an example, what you are, especially for me in this case. Let's say in European example is like as if you are a very famous football player, you can say, and out of nowhere I could get you on Instagram and troll you from your email. So I'm very lucky, and I appreciate this possibility to be here and just listen and follow your talk. Luckily, you didn't give me the WhatsApp yet, so
Yeah.
which is good. That's the mistake Sonam did. That's why every day I send him mantra. I troll him apparently. So
Funny.
don't do this mistake, please. Okay, so we can start. I will let you do the most, and I will listen as I can. So my first question will be: how did you come to yoga, and what does it mean to you? How look your practice today?
um, yeah, how I came to yoga is actually a pretty amazing story. I was in college in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, United States, at Temple University, and I was there. I was very active in a collegiate club athletics, taekwondo team, and our team was very active in tournaments and trained extensively. I don't know exactly how much you train if you're an Olympic athlete, but it felt like about that much. Um, it was many hours a week, along with my studies and my extracurricular activities, which were extensive at the time. I was involved in the Philadelphia social scene deeply, um, throwing concerts and parties, mostly hip hop stuff. And so I was very busy. And, back then it was the late 90s, early 2000s. Basically the first, I can't say first, but there was a huge wave of yoga that was happening in the United States. Studios were opening, hot yoga was becoming popular. Many people were getting into it. Basically, it was trendy at the time. And yeah, so me and a friend, we just took a yoga class, at my college gym, um, close to where I trained Taekwondo. And I was like, wow, that was pretty difficult. Having been doing very difficult physical things, it was difficult in a different way. And that was it. And then I graduated from college soon after. I guess that was a yearish. And I don't know, certain things were percolating in my mind quite a bit. I was politically active as well at the time, um, in some of the in a group, and kind of just being around Philadelphia. There was many people who were active in regards to police brutality. The MOVE thing is very popular in Philadelphia as far as Fremomia Abu Jamal and other MOVE members who actually many of them are free now or actually passed away, and so on. And I was in like Black Power, Black activism, equal rights for African American organization as well. And so, yeah, I was very politically active, and also just kind of reflecting on the problems of the world. And I have a very active mind. I was a philosophy major in school. And so basically all those things came together: my political activism, um, my social acumen, my physical practices, which were extensive and rigorous, and my philosophical background. I graduated, and many people were pushing me into getting a master's or doing something else in university. And I was just like, let me just think about it. And I spent a large amount of that summer just thinking, like really just contemplating, which is when I've come to learn, which is really encouraged in Asian traditions, right? You learn things and then you should think about them. You know, you shouldn't just keep learning necessarily. I mean, you should do both actually, but um, and so I just thought about it, and I came to this conclusion, or I don't know if it's a conclusion, but this realization that no matter what I did, I was gonna die.
Correct.
And no matter what anyone did, before they died, they would have problems. There'd be many problems. And there was no way to avoid the problems necessarily, no physical way. There was no way by just choosing a certain activity that I would be able to avoid any issue, including death, right? Up to death. And so I was like, really? I'm like, if that's true, then why would I pick any of these things? They're all equal in that sense. They're all equally going to lead to death. And so it just really dawned on me. I don't know. I guess it had to be past life karma, because it's a very Buddhist thing actually.
Mm-hmm.
I took one Buddhist class in school, and I loved it, but I didn't really have much training. Even though, in reflection, many of the things I was doing, I had done were very Buddhist in certain ways, or yogic, or Anyway, I decided or realized that if there was a solution to any of life's problems, because I also realized this. Hold on.
Bless you.
Thank you. That I also realized this, that the reason I was thinking about all these things is because I wanted to solve the problems. I was like, I want there, I'm also an environmentalist, and have been since third grade. And I was deeply concerned, when I was a kid, it was the ozone layer, and litter was a big thing, and I would pick up litter when I was a kid, and then water rights, water shortages and that sort of thing. Those were the first things, pollution, that I learned about, in third grade and on. And so, yeah, I was like, if I want to solve all these social issues, which there are many, especially being, having this skin color in the United States, if I want to solve all these environmental issues, of which there are many, with our current, systems of industry and commerce and economics and so forth. And if I even want to solve the problems of the fact you're going to die anyway, how? And I was like, I don't know what the solution is, but I realized whatever the solution was, it couldn't be an external solution, because no matter what you did externally, it would all equal the same thing. So therefore, whatever the solution was, it was internal. And in my mind, I was like, it's some spiritual thing. I don't know what it's called. I don't know what it is, but it has to be, if there is any, because it couldn't be outside. So it has to be something inside. And that was my logical conclusion. I didn't understand anything more. No one was telling me anything else. I was an avid reader. And I also had many associates. I mean, I knew thousands of people, and I would engage in conversation. Since I was young, I would debate. We would debate about existence and political theory and these things. I mean, we would debate to the point we started fighting each other, literally like wrestling, nothing too bad. We never really hurt each other, but we would get angry. Because as in high school, I was very interested in dystopias. I read 1984. I never finished Huxley, Brave New World, but I was very familiar with the work.
There as well. It is
Yeah,
someone is there behind me.
It's necessary, right? And Animal Farm and other books. And I realized, there was something about that really interested me. And we would debate about it, and we would debate about perception and nature versus nurture, which are just, these are the core, long story short, these are the core themes of yoga. If you read the yogic texts like Master Patanjali, Yoga Sutra, or Hatha Yoga Pradipika by Master Swatmarama, other books, these are the core issues. These are the core issues of existence, whether people are willing to ask them or not. You know, this is how Plato's Republic opens, you know, in the sense of questions about ethics. What is it to be a good friend, right? I think that's the first question in the Republic. You know, what goodness? It's all about goodness.
Yeah, moral value, how to treat each other.
Yeah, how to treat each other and why. Why should we treat each other well? And these are the things I was long interested in for whatever reason. I don't know. I'm kind of weird, but and so then strange things started to happen to me. In that year, in that summer, I started having, and I had kind of spontaneous things happen, but you know, now what I understand is like kind of chi events. Like all of a sudden, I became I could sense energy in my body, and like things that I would know things that there was no reason I should know them, that seemed logical at least, and these things started happening to me, and they started happening faster and more, and I was like, okay, something's going on.
It's the time.
Yeah, and then I spent a month in my motherland, Jamaica, as a gift to myself for graduating college. You know, my parents helped out too, and I went there for a month, and I just trained a lot, and I hung out with Rastas, and I saw family, and I just kind of connected with the land. And after that month, actually, I was coming home, on my way home with my father in the car, our way to the airport, and we started talking about, for some reason, this is September. Let me see, September. I don't know, like September 7th or something, 2001. Okay, and we're in the car and we're talking. What if that World Trade Center thing had happened in the 90s? What if they had taken those buildings down, and how horrible that would have been, and what destruction that would have caused? And, you know, me and my dad talk about politics and geopolitics and, you know, world events. For some reason, we started talking about that. I'm like, yeah, that would have been horrible. And then I go home, just home for like a couple days, and those planes hit the towers. And then that was it for me. That was it. I was just like, and the Buddhists call it renunciation. It's just like when you realize that this kind of human life is messed up. That, not renunciation in the sense that, oh, I give up feeling good, I give up having a girlfriend, I give up having friends, I give up having money. No, not like that. Because money, girlfriends, friends, you know, these are some of the good things of life, right? Or can be, right?
They help our happiness. Is important.
Yeah, exactly.
Shouldn't be strictly the most important, but they can be good use, sure.
Yeah, it's renunciation in this sense doesn't mean not to be happy. It means understanding that happiness, that eventually you'll be stripped of your happiness if you live a regular, you know, quote, regular human life. You know, some tragedy, some sickness, some death, you know, pain and what have you. And there's many arguments about that, but it just came to me, and I turned off the TV. The second plane hit the tower, I turned off the TV, and I never turned it back on. Like, I mean, if I'm over someone's house and I turn the TV on, you know, whatever, but I stopped watching TV that day. I was like, I don't have time for this. It's too precious. This life is too precious. My time is too precious. And I became a yogi. And I didn't even know what that meant. But it just all started to happen very quickly. And I said I let go, and I gave away as much of my stuff as I could. And in that time, I started to study yoga, like Kundalini yoga, and then I got exposed to Reiki, and then got exposed to fasting and eating, like being vegan, and eating like raw foods diet, and like all cleansing, all these
So
things started.
all the rest it follow. So all the rest of the part it follow. It start from the asana part, but then all this came after as a reaction. I understand, right?
Well, I barely had done any asana, actually. I mean,
Mhm.
the asana I had done was martial arts.
Okay, so yeah, body anyway. That's I mean, it's we start from the body input, and then you went through your mind, philosophy, spiritual part. Correct?
Yeah, which is actually, I mean, the Chinese system of Buddhism, they do it
Mhm.
like that. You know, they like Shaolin Kung Fu. They'll have you do Kung Fu,
Mhm.
and then after years, then they'll teach you philosophy.
Yes.
Also, the hatha system is similar. You know, they might not tell you any philosophy until you get really good at asana or something. Um, the Tibetan systems are sometimes the opposite. They'll just teach you philosophy for the first, I don't know, 25 years or something, and then they'll teach you yoga. So so it depends on the tradition. But anyway, it worked. It was, I think, the blessing of my past lives or something. Anyway, and then I moved. I moved from Philadelphia metropolitan area. I moved to the southwest of the United States and met many people studying yoga, body work, nutrition. I started playing capoeira. I started learning about the land, permaculture, and that sort of thing. And was still politically active and environmentally active. And in that area of the country, there was groups of people who were very active as well. And so I just kept studying and reading, and being active and helping people and deciding which was the best ways to help people. Yeah, and then from there, I for 3 years I studied on my own, and then I did formal training for 7 years in Chinese medicine, body work, yoga, everything. Um, and then after that, I opened my own clinic and decided it wasn't the thing for me, and and started studying Buddhism, intensely with
A lot.
a lot, like all day, pretty much. Like I wouldn't leave the house for a few days at a time. I still don't. Um, I missed yesterday. It was really sunny out. But whatever. And then and then I decided one day I should become a translator. I don't know why. I asked my intuition, what should I do? Because I was already a doctor, and it wasn't feeling like the best thing for everyone. So I said, what should I do? And they're like, become a translator. I was like, what languages? It said Chinese and Tibetan. And I said, okay. And so, I knew basic Chinese from my Chinese medical training, and I knew just little bits of Tibetan from my Buddhist training, but nothing nearly what it took. And I was just reflecting, with nothing nearly what it would take to be a translator. And I was just reflecting. I was like, oh, I made that decision like 7 years ago, like right now. And now I am a translator, as you are well aware, and I'm a teacher of Tibetan and Sanskrit, a little Chinese here and there. Chinese is very difficult. I want to teach it more. But anyway, that's how I got into yoga. And yoga and activism are the same thing.
Yeah.
There's no difference.
There's no separation. Karma yoga is kind of activism already, right? It's your action. You go, you give back, you do
Yeah,
your dharma.
if you understand the philosophy, I would say there's no separation,
No.
because yoga is founded on the philosophy of ahimsa, which means not non-violence is literally what it means. Ahimsa, not hitting, not hurting. And you can take that from basically, if you're a king or a president, not bombing other countries. If you're a brother, not punching your sibling in the head. If you're a parent, not abusing your children. You can take it from very, very gross and obvious things like not hitting people to very subtle, like,
Verbal.
yeah, well, verbal.
Mentally, verbally, physically, any
And our
level.
and our overall ethic, how are we living on this earth? Are we living in such a way that hurts sentient beings, hurts living beings, hurts other people, other animals, other beings, aversely, hurts them gratuitously. Because you can't, and that's the other thing I realized a long time ago too. It's like, in this kind of human life, you can't get away without hurting something.
No.
If you sneeze, if you breathe, if you sit, if you stand, if you walk, if you talk, something is dying. Digestion, things are dying. That's a part of this kind of human life. And many argue that that's life, period.
At the same time, digesting is magic. It become us. So it's not only killing, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's all magic.
Yeah, exactly. We become myself. What I eat become my flesh is not only killing. It is unifying as well.
It's not only killing. None of that is only killing. It's mixed, and that's
Exactly. Yeah.
and human is a mixed karma. It's about 50% good, 50% bad all the time. And if you start moving away towards very good, you start moving into other kinds of existence, which is like the path of yoga. The path of yoga, according to, Hatha Yoga Pradipika and, Yoga Sutras and many other texts, is to move away from this kind of life where you have to constantly hurt things or constantly be hurt. And many people argue, nowadays people say things like, that's not enlightenment, that's not what it's about. I don't know. I'm not there to definitively say, but that's not what it says in the books. So I don't know. People can argue about it. They rarely want to argue about it, actually. They just want to hold that view. I don't know.
Yeah, they just want to argue about their own egoistic point of view. If we would know, we wouldn't be here, no? We will be so good accomplished that we couldn't mistake if we really know.
Yeah, I don't. I argued for like 30 years. I don't argue much anymore with people. Unless, I mean, they're very open. If they want to hear something, I'll tell them. But in traditional Buddhist, unless someone is volunteering to be part of a debate or something, you don't argue with them. You just do good things for them and kind of just keep doing your practice, unless they request, and even request like 3 times. You don't say anything usually. The best good deeds are often done in secret. So anyway, yeah, that's how I got to yoga, and that's what I'm doing now.